Howdy, and welcome to the Appalachian Blacksmith. So, first things first, I'm going to show all you first-time blacksmithers, which I am one of you, how to get started, basically, if you're looking into doing some blacksmithing. I mean, you don't need terribly too much, it's just, you need something to bang on. And no, I didn't start out with this, and these nice hammers and everything. I started out with that right there. I had 2 cinder blocks, a piece of steel made for putting a bush hog on a tractor, some bolt cutters, and some hammers. Just standard hammers, not really anything big. And I made a nice little wrench knife out of that. And now I got some pretty serious upgrades. I got this right here, the anvil. I got some nice hammers. Got forge right here. Ain't using no campfire no more. But yeah, I used to travel and do all kinds of other stuff. And I kind of upgraded from there. Had an anvil about this big right here. It's not terribly big, but I mean, you can probably make some pretty good stuff with that. And the problem with this is, you know, since it's so short, you can work on like one section at a time. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's a great start, but here's the problem. This anvil bounces like that. And you may be thinking, you know, just screw it down. I did. I tried to screw it down and ended up, the bolts that we were going to put in it would break the end of this anvil off, and we used screws. Drilled out some holes, used some screws, got a stump, and it made the stump bounce. I mean, that stump was like this is pretty tall right here. It was about down here somewhere, and yeah, it was making that thing bounce. But I eventually got this and some hammers, forge, got me a vise and angle grinder. Started doing some serious work. Made some knives, made some stuff like that, but today I'm just going to work on some S-hooks, and I think in the future I'll be making some knives, showing you what I know and some of that stuff. So yeah, let's get started. So, to be safe in blacksmithing, first off, you're gonna want these. And you know, some of you may be thinking why, and my gosh, I've got some holes in that thing. But you are going to touch molten steel. I'm not kidding, you will. It will happen, and you will be very happy to have these. I've touched them multiple times, just forgetting that it's molten steel, like 1,000 degrees or something like that. And I was very happy to have these. And I burned myself through these gloves. So it's not going to save you from a burn, it's just going to save it from burning through your finger. So you're going to definitely want these. And this. You're going to want one of these too, because there's a lot of backsplash of metal that gets thrown off the thing you're hammering. And if you don't want your clothes, all your clothes, your pants and everything having holes all in them, if you don't mind that, then you don't need one of these. But it's just handy for when you don't want to ruin your clothes so fast. Now, the other thing, this. A lot of blacksmithers don't use them. And it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with having one of these either. I use it because I cut my eye back in Wyoming. I was hammering a cold piece of steel. It's back when I was still learning what cold and hot steel was. And I broke a piece of steel off, and it came back and went right in my eye. Cut my eye, cut my forehead. Went to the hospital. It was by the grace of God that I still have my vision today. All right, so all ready to light the forge. Roll that way. All right. So I recently got some new things for filming. I used to use a old 50s house jack. It was made for a trailer. And a brick and a rock. That's what I used to film. Now, I've got this nice camera stand and it's making this light. It's nice, let me tell you. Get this opened up. Make sure everything's tight. We have fire. Let's get it up to where it's normal. Out of is this. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I've practiced welding on this a couple of times. It's not really going to hurt it. So, get started with that. Oh yeah, one of the other things you're going to want is tongs. That's how you grab your stuff. When it's hot like that, you're going to want it. Time, your metal will take longer to get hot the first time you put it in. After that, it'll just warm up and warm up and then I've changed tongs. These are round tongs. They grab things that are round. You're going to want them for this. Alright. Ain't got a good grip on it. Get a nice grip. That's all right. Just put it back in there for a while. All right. One other thing that you're going to want to know about blacksmithing is when you blacksmith, you need to get all these shavings off right here, because they'll stick to your metal right here, and it'll be flaky when you get it off the anvil. I've had that happen before. Now you just heat it up again, and it'll be good. All right. Get this back here. All right. And let's get to work. Better tongs for that. Good stuff for me. So it's a work in progress. No, what you basically need to know is, you know, don't hammer it when it's cold. When it stops glowing like that, when it stops looking like that, then it's cold and you don't need to hammer it no more. Even if it has a glow to it, it's still cold. And you just don't hammer it, or you end up like me. So basically, I mean, just be safe with it and don't get burned. Might need a bigger hammer for this. Might have to use the vise for that. Alright. So, straightened it out with the vise, so it should be good for it. Now, just gonna let it heat up and see how it goes. But, no, I'm making all these mistakes and stuff like that, but you know, first timers, don't worry about it. But with all this stuff like angles and, you know, how to hammer it, where to hammer it, you'll get it, you'll learn it eventually. It's like riding a bike, you eventually get there. But you know, I still got a lot to learn. I don't know all about this yet, but I'm learning. I'm getting there. Go ahead and take it out. You know, that don't really matter for what I'm doing. And you'll do that right there. Safe thing to do when you do it, don't use your gloves. And make sure that the floor that you drop this on is not something flammable, because it will burn right through it. You put it back in the forge. If you are doing this outside and you don't have any sand or ash to put down, anything like that, then when it lands on the ground, it's got grass all over it, it's burning the grass on it, you want to scrape it off. You just want to get it on the anvil, you just kind of scrape it with your hammer or whatever, get all that grass off. So we're about ready. Pretty much, there's your S-hook. Just gotta take these two pieces of metal out and be done. Alright, we're pretty much done. I'm gonna turn off the forge. And there's your S-hook. Now, we're not done with it. So, for those of you familiar with the quenching process, you know, you may have watched Forged in Fire or something like that. Quenching process comes after you have sanded it, shined it, and put everything that you want on it except finish or paint or anything like that. You sand it, you get it all to the way you want it to look, and to heat treat it, you put it back in the forge or the campfire or whatever you're using and wait till it's glowing again. Then you quench it. That makes the metal stronger and it makes it less likely to break under pressure. Now, I'm not going to be using this S-hook for thousands of pounds or anything crazy like that, but just so I can show you guys how to do it, I'm going to be doing that process anyway. All right, so now all you want to do is take your piece of metal and you want to just sand it down, which I'm just going to use an angle grinder, nice sanding block on it. Put it in my vise and we'll get started. All right, that should be good. And there you have it, folks. Got you a genuine S-hook. Now, I'm gonna do some heat treating. All right, let's get started. All right, let's do some heat treating. Definitely done. Now for my favorite part of the whole thing. There you go. You have officially heat treated an S-hook. All right, that's the end of this episode of Appalachian Blacksmith. See y'all later.